The courtroom was packed, the air thick with anticipation. It was supposed to be a routine hearing, just another day in court. But no one expected what was about to unfold, a legal showdown that would leave everyone in shock. At the center of it all, Barron Trump. For years, the youngest son of former President Donald Trump had been in the public eye, but always at a distance. Unlike his outspoken siblings, Barron had remained private, shielded from the media storm that constantly surrounded his family. But today was different. Today, he wasn't just making an appearance, he was taking control. It all started when a judge, known for his sharp tongue and lack of patience, decided to crack a joke at Barron's expense. The case itself wasn't about Barron directly, but given his family name, the courtroom had already been buzzing with curiosity about his presence. As soon as Barron entered, the judge smirked and made a comment that would soon become his biggest mistake. "Didn't expect to see you here," the judge remarked, leaning back in his chair. "Figured you'd be off playing video games or whatever kids your age do." A few chuckles rippled through the courtroom. Barron, however, didn't flinch. Instead, he remained composed, his expression unreadable. Those who knew him well understood that he wasn't just another privileged kid riding on his family's name. Barron had been raised in a world of high-stakes negotiations, political maneuvering, and legal battles. He had watched his father handle some of the toughest challenges on the global stage. And today it showed. "Your Honor," Barron said, his voice calm and steady, "I'd appreciate it if we could stick to the matter at hand. Personal remarks about my age or assumed interests don't seem relevant to these proceedings." The courtroom fell silent. Even the judge seemed momentarily caught off guard. It was the kind of response no one had expected from an 18-year-old. But Barron wasn't finished. He proceeded to reference legal precedents, citing cases that reinforced his argument with a level of detail that made even the most seasoned attorneys in the room raise their eyebrows. His poise, his articulation, and his command of the subject matter were undeniable. It wasn't just confidence, it was mastery. The judge, now visibly uncomfortable, shifted in his seat. He cleared his throat, clearly realizing that he had underestimated the young Trump. He attempted to move past his earlier remark, but the damage had been done. The courtroom had witnessed something rare. A judge getting a lesson in professionalism and legal etiquette from someone he had dismissed as just another kid. Word of the exchange spread like wildfire. Social media exploded with reactions, with many praising Barron for his intelligence and composure. Legal experts weighed in, noting that his ability to counter the judge's remark with facts and logic was nothing short of impressive. But perhaps the most telling reaction came from those in the courtroom itself. Seasoned lawyers, journalists, and even critics of the Trump family had to acknowledge one thing. Barron Trump wasn't just a spectator in his family's legal battles. He was a force to be reckoned with. It raised a question that many hadn't seriously considered before. Could Barron Trump have a future in law or even politics? After all, if he could command a courtroom at 18, what could he accomplish? With more experience? One thing was certain. This was just the beginning. As the hearing continued, the judge, clearly rattled, tried to regain control of the room. "Let's stay focused," he said, attempting to brush off the exchange. But the shift in energy was undeniable. Barron had set the tone, and everyone in the courtroom could feel it. A seasoned attorney seated nearby leaned over to a colleague and whispered, "Did you see that? The kid just flipped the power dynamic." And that was exactly what had happened. Barron Trump had not only defended himself against the judge's dismissive remark, but he had also subtly reminded everyone in the room that intelligence and credibility weren't dictated by age. It was a masterclass in composure under pressure, something that many seasoned lawyers struggled to achieve in the heat of a courtroom battle. But Barron wasn't done proving his point. As the case proceeded, he continued to listen intently, taking notes and occasionally conferring with his legal team. And when he was given the opportunity to speak again, he did something that left an even bigger impact. Instead of responding with emotion or irritation, something the judge may have been hoping for, Barron maintained his poise and used logic to dismantle the opposition's arguments. His ability to recall legal references and apply them in real time was something that stunned even the most experienced legal minds in the room. One attorney later remarked, "You'd think he had been preparing for this moment his entire life." And maybe in some ways he had. Growing up in the Trump family meant constant exposure to high-stakes negotiations, legal proceedings, and media scrutiny. While the world saw Barron as the quiet, private member of the Trump dynasty, behind the scenes, he had been absorbing everything. By the time the hearing reached its conclusion, the judge's tone had noticeably shifted. Gone was the condescension from earlier. Instead, there was a quiet acknowledgement, a realization that Barron Trump had commanded the courtroom in a way that few could have predicted. As Barron gathered his things to leave, a few reporters stationed in the back hurried to send updates. One of them, still shaking his head in disbelief, typed out a headline that would soon go viral. "Judge mocks Barron Trump, instantly regrets it as he delivers a legal masterclass." By the time Barron exited the courtroom, social media was already ablaze with reactions. Clips of the hearing began circulating, with viewers praising his poise, intellect, and ability to stand his ground against a seasoned judge. Even critics who had previously dismissed him as just the quiet Trump kid had to admit there was something different about Barron. His quiet confidence, his refusal to be rattled, his ability to turn a dismissive remark into a moment of undeniable credibility. It led to speculation. Could Barron Trump be preparing for a future in law? Could he one day enter the political arena like his father? While Barron himself remained tight-lipped about any long-term aspirations, one thing was certain. This courtroom moment had changed the public's perception of him forever. What started as a judge's offhand remark had turned into something much bigger, a defining moment that showcased Barron Trump as a force to be reckoned with. And if this was just the beginning, the world could only imagine what was coming next. As Barron walked out of the courtroom, the media frenzy was already in full swing. Reporters scrambled to get reactions from legal experts, political commentators, and anyone who had witnessed the exchange firsthand. The consensus was clear. Barron Trump had just delivered a moment that no one saw coming. One prominent legal analyst, appearing on a primetime news broadcast later that evening, summed it up best. "This was supposed to be just another day in court, but what we saw was nothing short of extraordinary. Barron Trump demonstrated a level of legal understanding, composure, and professionalism that you'd expect from someone with years of experience, not an 18-year-old. The judge clearly underestimated him, and he paid the price for it." Across social media, hashtags like "I'm Barron the Brilliant" and "Either Trump Legal Masterclass" began trending. Even those who weren't necessarily Trump supporters couldn't help but be impressed. One viral tweet read, "Regardless of where you stand politically, you have to admit, Barron Trump handled himself like a pro in that courtroom. That judge thought he could humiliate him, and instead, he got schooled." Meanwhile, inside Trump Tower, the reaction from Barron's family was just as telling. Donald Trump himself, known for his sharp instincts when it comes to media moments, reportedly saw the viral clips and simply nodded, saying, "That's my boy." Melania Trump, always fiercely protective of Barron, was said to be particularly proud. She had spent years shielding him from the public eye, ensuring he had as normal a childhood as possible, despite being the son of one of the most polarizing figures in modern politics. Now she watched as he confidently stepped into the spotlight on his own terms. But the real question remained. Was this just a one-time viral moment, or was Barron Trump hinting at something more? Speculation began almost immediately. Some political commentators suggested that Barron could be laying the groundwork for a future in law or politics. Others dismissed the idea, arguing that he had always shown little interest in the political world his father dominated. Yet, those who had been paying close attention saw something different. Barron had spent his entire life surrounded by power, strategy, and influence. He had witnessed firsthand how deals were made, how media narratives were shaped, and how legal battles were fought. He had remained quiet, but that didn't mean he wasn't absorbing everything. And now, for the first time, the world was getting a glimpse of what he was truly capable of. As the days passed, more footage from the courtroom continued to surface. Legal analysts dissected his arguments, praising his ability to reference case law with precision. Body language experts broke down his demeanor, pointing out how his calm and controlled posture indicated confidence beyond his years. Even some of the judge's colleagues weighed in, with one anonymous source admitting, "I think the judge realized too late that he picked the wrong person to make an example of." Barron himself, however, remained characteristically reserved. When asked about the moment during a brief encounter with a journalist outside Trump Tower, he simply responded, "I was just focused on the case. That's all that mattered." A diplomatic answer, yet one that only fueled further curiosity. Was this the start of a new chapter for Barron Trump? Would he step into the public sphere in a way no one had anticipated? For now, only time would tell. But one thing was certain: this courtroom moment had cemented Barron Trump as someone to watch. And if his performance that day was any indication of his potential, the world hadn't seen anything yet.